Assalamualaikum and welcome to today's episode of Academy Speaking with me, Dr. Azalia. And today I want to discuss on the topic on AI and education. So AI actually has been around for a very long time, but it came into the general public awareness mainly through ChatGPT. And one of the first institutions that were directly affected by the commercialization of language learning models such as ChatGPT is the universities. The technology was developing so rapidly that universities, even mine, at least today, are still struggling to think about what kind of policies that we want to implement when it comes to AI. Because as you can see, students are using it to write their assignments, their term papers, their theses, basically everything that revolves around the institution of learning, at least in the university sense. And actually, there was the one video that really caught my eye, I think, where there was a student, I think somewhere in the United States, graduating, and they were showing off their laptop with their ChatGPT assignments, and they were like really happy to have gamed the system, apparently it seems. But to every person, I guess what a degree means is different. So I think it's really important to actually really think about that, of really think about, are we actually learning anything, or are we outsourcing learning? Are we outsourcing thinking to these LLMs? So plenty papers have come up with the effects of AI use on our brains, on our learning. Of course, it is a shortcut to help us do things faster and more efficient. And usually when I talk to my students, since there's no policy implemented right now, what I tell them is I myself am in support of AI. I definitely believe it's useful and I believe it can be used for learning, but you have to give it the right prompt and you have to use it correctly, like any tool. You can take a knife, you can cut carrots and apples, but don't go around stabbing people with it, right? So, same concept. In my personal opinion, though, it is harder to game the system when it comes to foreign language learning, because of course I have had students who tried using AI to write their paragraphs, but we know exactly their fluency, and the moment I question them or ask them to repeat themselves or explain something, then it's out of the bag that they didn't do it, and just in a second they'll admit, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't do it by myself, I just used ChatGPT because I had no time. So it's easier for us to filter these, at least in my subject, when it's just like most basic Japanese language learning. It is very easy to filter out the students who are actually using AI. And this leads to my next point, which is there really a shortcut to learning languages? As someone who specifically studied about language acquisition for my PhD, so at least the multi-competence theory by Cook talks about how when you learn a language, any new language, at least the second or third language, it's not as simple as having an additional room added into your brain. Meaning, if your brain is considered a house, it's not just about adding one room outside where you don't disturb the inside, you just add one thing outside. Learning a second language or foreign language involves a huge renovation. It's like demolishing the inside, taking things out, taking things in blah, rewiring things inside your brain to make the words connect. Because when you learn a language, you're not just learning how to speak it or talk it, you also learn, and the ultimate goal, is to think in the language. So when you think in the language, and that's where words come out and everything come out, and that's why it's a whole renovation of your brain, and it's just not adding a simple room. And that's one of the reasons why I find it slightly irritating when I see all those ads from language apps saying how easy it is that you can just learn a language through gamification or drilling with their apps. Even now, we've heard about the whole Duolingo fall down and whatnot, and how it's going into AI. But talking about Duolingo itself, right? Even in the interview, or if I'm not mistaken, there was an interview that I read where the founder, the creator itself, admitted that the addiction, your streaks, is to opening the game and playing the game, playing the app, using the app. But actual learning, if it's really happening or not, you can't really tell. I mean, sure, it does get you enough a little bit, but not to the level that it is actually advertising, because real learning takes a lot of pain and a lot of hard work and a lot of drills, and it's just ironic to see how people are trying to really not dumb it down, really soften the fault by telling like, hey, it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be difficult. But in reality, we know, if even if it's not just language, yeah, learning anything is difficult. That's the whole process. If you remember, I mean, we can't really remember how it was when we learned how to walk, but of course, learning how to walk involves falling a couple of times, bumping your head here and there. Learning how to ride a bicycle, like, you have to have that courage or bravery to go without the training wheels and fall and scrape your knee and cry. Like, all of that is the process that we learn. Even swimming, like, there's the fear of drowning if you don't figure it out, right? So maybe those seem like physical kind of learning, but still, you are learning something, and it is already the example that when you go through the process, your body remembers it and your mind remembers it. And that's the same with language. It has to feel difficult and hard, so that that renovation in your brain, it's like, I can't think of the word right now. See, I can't even think of the word.
2,000 years later.
So that it's etched. That's what I was looking for. So that it's etched inside your brain on how to use it. Even my own personal Japanese language learning journey was terrifying. And if you asked any of my senseis back then, they wouldn't even believe how far I've come to even now be having it as a profession, just because of how how terribly I had failed during my time in preparatory class. But that's the process, right? There's a saying in Japanese, a kotowaza, I'm not sure if it's a kotowaza, but gakumon ni odo nashi means there is no royal road to learning. And what it means, royal road, it means this shortcut that you think there's no shortcut to learning. You have to go through it. You have to embrace it. I actually really wanted to make this video because I just want to stress how important it is to feel the hardship. And I know people might take this out of context or take it wrongly, but yes, I know the world is full of hardship already. We're already feeling so many things, but with the internet age and these videos and everything, it's so easy to feel like lullabied, like you are, I'm so sorry, the words are not coming to me properly, but you are being swayed, you are being, lullaby. I just think of the lullaby into this kind of like, hey, it's okay, but it's very human for you to struggle and suffer and learn when it means something, to be good at something. If you want to be a good painter, if you want to be a good businessman, anything, you have to at least fail a few times before you actually reach something. And when it comes to this generation, at least that I can see with my students, due to the environment that they are brought up with instant gratification, this and that, people like TikToks, everyone is just selling things to yourself, like, hey, you can have this, you don't have to work hard at all, it's all at your fingertips and everything, whatever. So it's either they're not willing to feel the hardship, or they are easy to feel like, oh no, or they are uncomfortable with that feeling, or they don't feel comfortable feeling the hardship, like, oh, it shouldn't be this hard or something like that. But the reality is, it needs to be when you are learning something. But lastly, I think what I like to remind my students is, you can game the system and you can win it. You can win it by not get caught. You can cheat the system all you want, but it doesn't really mean you learn anything. And if you don't learn anything, then it's just such a shame. When you can actually be gaining something new insights and whatnot that can really enrich your life. But if that's the choice you want to make, then everyone's different, so it's up to them, really. It's up to you. All right, I think that's all for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. What do you think? Any thoughts? I'd love to hear them if you have any. If not, it's okay. Alright, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.